man, James Adams. Dude, you're a man of many talents. You kind of wear a lot of hats. So I'm going to try to introduce you of some of the things that I know you do and then shoot out the things that I'm missing because there's a lot. So very talented guy. You've been a chef and a server. That's kind of, I think, how we met.
Yep.
And I'll talk about that in a little bit. You're a small business owner. You own Twin Cities Skaters, which is a thing that's popping off pretty good right now. And you've been a personal trainer. You have a studio, Twin City Skater Studio, TCS, dyslexia, TCS Studio. You're an artist. You're an athlete. You are what you call yourself, a pro juggler. Not in the sense of actually juggling, right?
Not actually
but like
juggling.
just juggling all the things,
Correct.
which is cool.
What do you say, James of all trades, right?
James of all trades.
Yeah.
Yeah. Welcome, dude. It's good to have you here. I guess just starting off, like, I want to tell a little story about how we met. So, because it kind of speaks to what you're doing now. So, we met through catering, D'Amico Catering, and you were a server for a day. And I think this is when we actually like hit it off. So I remember we were working actually an event out at a park. Maybe you remember this. It was like a bike event where we were at like the halfway mark of like a 20-mile bike ride. Do you remember this? And we were
keep going.
We were chilling on the back of a D'Amico truck at this park, and it was like an early morning event. And we finished setting up or whatever.
It's coming.
And then you and I started talking because there's like some downtime because we're waiting for the bikers to roll in for the halfway mark or whatever. And so we just got to talking, and then like I found out you're an artist, and so I've been a musician for a long time. So then we were like instantly talking about music, and you're like, oh, I love music. I play a little bit of guitar and this and that. And then you're talking about like the physical stuff that you do, like physical training. Is it physical training? Yeah. Personal training, and that you're an artist and all this stuff. And then that's how we became kind of friends, and in my memories. And do you remember that at all yet?
Yeah, I remember. It took a second.
None of it.
That's when I fell in love with you, bro.
Yeah. No, I remember. It was a magical moment. I remember that.
Cute.
Yeah.
Well, it was like the sun's shining. It's a beautiful morning. We're on the back of a D'Amico truck.
It's a true
The birds are
bromance.
chirping. The grass was
Yes.
freshly cut.
I love that.
But it was a super cool time. And then I feel like that's how I connect with a lot of people. Is like I find out we have like some common ground. Like even you, like I found out that you did like opera singing or whatever it was.
Yeah.
You went to school for singing.
Once upon a time, yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
And
way back when.
So like when I find out people are like a musician or whatever, I automatically know that we have something like super deep in common, and then it's like we resonate, and then I can connect with you on lots of different levels. But so that was it. The birds were chirping, the sun was shining. Yeah, it was a good morning. That's how we became buddies, though.
I'm glad it was a good memory.
And
He's like, are you secretly my stalker? What is happening right now?
I get like I'm super like I take that stuff like kind of personally a little bit, and I like make a special note in my mind when there are people that I can resonate that hard with. So, and I think it's in events in general, it's like when you can connect with people like that, like outside of the typical, like we're working together, whatever. And it's like that kind of shit sucks a little bit. But then when you can talk about and kind of escape the work with talking about some like fun stuff that we're actually interested in. So it's just awesome. So anyways, I wanted to ask you right off the bat, just like how did you actually end up getting into events? Because like fast forward to now, you're doing so much. But like let's reverse it a little bit and start it off.
Well, first I want to say I appreciate that introduction. That was amazing. And it's equally received. I do, as you start talking, I was like, okay, I do remember that day. And it was fun because we got to connect on music and basketball. And I believe you were my boss. Because you were event manager, but it didn't feel that way at all. Just like, this is my new work friend. Like,
when you like tell me you're a musician or something, like I'm automatically we're on the same level then.
Yeah,
I'm no longer your boss.
Before
we're just
that,
buddies
though.
Yeah, to me, that's why
Exactly.
that's why I never got promoted. I never got promoted.
No, it's been all respect and all love the entire time. So how I actually got into events. So when I think about my professional past, so to speak, events was kind of a milestone of when I I turned the leaf, so to speak. So I actually have formal training in hotel restaurant management. So that's what my degree is in. And at that point, I had done fancy restaurants. I've done dive bars. And, I wasn't getting out of it what I'd like. At a certain point, you get sick of cleaning the deep fryer. Prep cooking wasn't all that. I saw the glass ceiling. I wasn't being promoted as quickly as I would like. And this is, keep in mind, switching between front and back of the house. I'm just trying to find my way in the industry, right? I took a pivot when I went to events, D'Amico. So catering. Now, catering was just like, and actually this was after a corporate episode too. So I did corporate cook job. That didn't necessarily go well either. But catering was a whole nother vibe. I'm just like, I never thought about the food industry in this way. Before the restaurant industry, it's the line cooking, the short, chop, the tickets, it's a lot of little. Whereas catering, I feel like, is a climb up to like a crescendo, music reference. And then it crashes. And so the build up, all the different moving parts, I really liked that. And then I really liked that I was able to shine front of the house and back of the house. So about when we met, I would say 2018 is when, I feel like events, actually, let me rewind it back. 2016, I worked at a catering company where I lived in Arizona. It might have been 2015. But that's my first catering job. And that's when I started looking at the industry as a whole of like events, not all night, working my ass off, busting my ass. No, one event, prepare, pack, have fun, pack out, get the fuck out.
There's an end in sight.
You can cuss.
There's an end in sight.
Yeah,
correct.
Yeah.
I like the flow better. Let me put it that way.
Yeah. I think that when you're outside the event industry, it can be very opaque looking in, where it's like everything looks like the same, but also not like anything at all, kind of, when people like don't know what I do, they're like, oh, you're a planner. It's like, no, not even a little bit, but okay. Yeah, kind of, I guess. I don't know. So yeah, when you were looking in and finally experiencing that, like it kind of just shifted a little bit for you.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Complete paradigm shift as far as like I said, how I looked, as far as how my future could go, just limited knowledge with this little degree.
Right.
How do I want to go? Do I want to be a fancy chef in a restaurant? Do I want to be front house manager? At that point, I had no clue. But then, like I said, catering just opened up my eyes in a whole new way of serving people, serving food, and good times.
So is that how you started serving originally?
Yeah, I was always, so this is kind of speaking to my personality of James of all trades. I've always been a stickler in making it a fact that every job that I apply to, like, I want to be versatile. I'm going to be more valuable to you in this way. Because if you stick me in just one spot, I'm going to get bored. It's going to get monotonous. Even playing basketball, every team that was on, what position do you play? Who am I guarding? Who's guarding me? Who's on the team with me during this time? It all depends.
Yeah, you got to be flexible.
So I like to be flexible in the sense that you need me this way or that way. Switch hitter, So every job I've had in the industry, I've had equal front of the house, back of the house, and I always insisted on that. So I can't say that I've started with either. Maybe the chef intrigued me originally because back in 2009, that was a route that I saw that I can take my art and make a living for myself. Yeah. Because if you remember back, that was when we had the first, the financial crash, and I didn't want to be a starving artist. It's like, all right, my dad told me only artists get paid when they're dead. So it's like, you're right. I'm not going to get rich making these drawings or making these graphics. Like, I mean, there's a way, but let me find something that's more feasible. And I also felt more intimately connected with people with the food. You're eating my art, whereas you draw a picture, oh, that looks cool. Yep. You get to look at it and admire it. But something about the food, the nourishment, and it kind of taps into the health, and that I just felt like more connected with people once I found this route.
I love that. Yeah, because when we started working at D'Amico together, you were switching between the kitchen as a chef and front of house serving and stuff like that. And I can't recall like too much, but I know like you were good at both.
Yeah. Yep. And like I said, that's kind of how I like to play things. Is my strength is my versatility, And, they say jack of all trades, master of none, James of all trades. But like I said, I kind of took that like with a chip on my shoulders, like I'm going to make it my thing.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I think that like I've referred to sometimes having staff like that as like a utility knife of a person, right? Like, or a Swiss Army knife of a person. Got a lot of tools in your tool belt, which is like a super valuable thing, especially if you have enough self-awareness to know like, here's how I operate best. Here's like the ways that like I can really like give the most here, and being able to put yourself in a position to like succeed in that way is really important. And then if you can find a company that like supports that and allows you to, or become an entrepreneur, which obviously is a big part of it too.
That was my struggle on the rise up.
Yeah.
You don't really see that. Where like you don't really see a chef doing front of house stuff.
No, that's really
like,
unusual. I was a
it's
little
very
confused
unique.
when you mentioned that. I was like, how does that work?
I was definitely an anomaly in the industry, and that's probably part of the reason why I went the route I did.
Yeah.
Is there wasn't entirely a place for me.
Yeah.
I made a home temporarily at different places, and it was nice to have organizations that recognize this and utilize that.
Yeah.
My catering company, Arizona, it was a small mom and pop shop. They love that because now they can schedule me to do both things.
Right.
And you're a party planner. It's very nice to have employees that, hey, just in case something pops off over here, can you switch? I brought both shirts to my shift sometimes.
That's smart.
That had to happen.
Yeah.
And it was very nice on the managers to know that that's an option.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
There's a continuation of the master of none or all that stuff.
Yeah.
There
It's
is
like
a continuation.
Yeah, jack of all trades, but master of none. But a jack of all trades is better than a master of one.
Yep. That's it. That's exactly
I've
it.
never heard that portion
not-
of it.
I like that.
It's not very popularized, but that's the full quote. Yep. Thank you for that.
No, that's awesome. And then, so I mean, fast forward, like right now, you're kind of speaking of all the jack of all trades stuff. So like, you did the kitchen and serving. What I love about your story is that you've found a way to take kind of all the things that you're interested in and combine them in and make them into like a business that you're successful with. I feel like I resonate with you a lot on that too, because I think I'm trying to do the same thing with combining music with video and all the things that I love. And I think that's something that I think what you're doing is super cool, is just like taking all the things you love and basically meshing them into something that you can turn into like a business. And I just love that. And you had something you were going to mention.
I think we were talking about this a little bit beforehand, that like you can't always connect those dots like when you're doing it or like in the beginning stages, but looking back on it, suddenly you're like, oh, this makes perfect sense, how all of these things lined up in this perfect way to bring us to this point here. And it's like, that's where it sort of starts to feel like a calling a little bit. You're like, this might be a calling, because like, otherwise how do I have this like random mismatch of things that turn into like exactly what you need?
And it does seem random because it all came by accident, at least from my vantage point. But at a certain point, it's forming right in front of your eyes. It's like, this is it. It starts to make sense. And as you're saying, all your skills that you've learned throughout your life, now you're
culmination.
You're starting to funnel and take all the light and make it more of a laser beam and focus all of it together. Now you can make some groundwork. And so for me, all these different skills, working with people, education, physical fitness, food, none of it made sense. I didn't know which direction I wanted to go.
This was part of the conversation actually at the back of the D'Amico truck on that beautiful morning. You were talking about that you wanted to combine like your artistry and the physical side of it. This is why I thought it was so cool that like what you're doing right now is because you actually had mentioned this way back then, that you're trying to figure out a way to basically combine them. I do recall this.
Wow.
Yeah, you were talking about that. Yeah.
Sometimes you don't even know like when it like you're like sometimes you're talking about things like way back when and haven't even, it's just a germ of an idea.
That's exactly what it was. It was just seeded.
Yeah.
I don't even remember saying
that.
Yeah,
I remember you saying it though. And I remember because like being like, damn, that's really cool. And I'm like, I don't know how the hell that dude's going to do that. Because I was a strict kind of like a musician at the time.
Yep.
And in my mind, even at that time, I couldn't see that happening. But I've found a way kind of now to do it myself in some of those respects. But it's cool to see it kind of go full circle for you, and actually you've done it now.
It is crazy.
It's kind of crazy.
We know what it is along this journey on the way up, I've learned that monetization, that's a skill in itself. You can be Jimi Hendrix on the guitar, but if you can't sell that and capitalize on it, it doesn't mean nothing, but you get what I'm saying. You can't make a business out of it. And so for me, it's been really easy making a living out of what I do because I've outworked everyone. Mm-hmm. Because if you don't have that passion fueling you, it's not gonna pay off for you. Right. So like, if you ask me how much I make per hour, it's pennies.
You're like, I don't know, I put in 90 hours a week, so what is that?
Yeah, you know, but you have to overpay in order to get that type of success. And once you do kind of see things full circle and have a full understanding, and you're able to apply these skills in certain situations. And, that was actually the philosophy of my first business, Arts and Fitness. Mm-hmm. I had a few different, but this is one of the main things, is there's an art to everything. Mm-hmm. Balance, empower, create. Mm-hmm. And for me, having 4 different resumes and seeing there's a pattern to certain things. And once you understand this flow is everything. Events, come on now.
Yeah, that's all it is.
Flow.
Right.
People who understand the flow, the sense of urgency. Yeah. When the iron's hot, this is when you go. This is when you flip.
Yeah. This is when it comes up. This is when it comes down. This is when how you move people from here to there. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like that sort of like motion of everything, honestly, is like a really unique skill to have, and not something that everybody can understand necessarily. Mm-hmm. I feel like there's a couple of through lines from what I've heard, and we just met for the first time today. I did do a little bit of research beforehand. Most of what I found about you beforehand was like about your endeavor right now. But hearing all these other things, it's very clear that like art is a big part of it.
It is.
And community.
It is. And what's weird about that is I just had a lecture with a U of M class. Mm-hmm. And, I keep it all organic. Like, this whole business has been grassroots, boots on the ground. But I was telling them, like, the same story, that this was an accident. But honestly, this was a personal pursuit. This was a selfish endeavor in the sense that after college basketball was finished, I played 3 men's leagues. I'll never forget this year. 3 men's leagues in 1 year.
Damn.
Jumper's knee came in vicious. I was about 24, 25, a leaper my entire basketball career. And boy, that pain, I remember coming down specifically on the reverse layup. I was like, that did not feel right. Something was wrong there. And at this point, like I said, I've kind of burned out my view of restaurant industry. Where can I go? I'm just trying to find my way, right? Mm-hmm. But it was the personal fitness. So I got into roller skating just to try to figure out my knee pain. I never had a idea of community and bringing it all, the art and fitness all together. Mm-hmm. I just, I was a skater as a child. I'm like, basketball's too hard on my joints. Let me get into something that's going to make me a little bit more mobile, flexible. This is something I enjoy. But once I got into it as an adult, you just have a different view on things. Right. And it's like, this is actually pretty cool. The community. Then I did start to see the community and the culture that's involved, and connecting with the music. Mm-hmm. And now I'm a performance artist, and now I'm able to stay fit very easily. It's my new basketball. I don't get the competitive nature out of me in that sense, but then it all started to make sense. Serving people. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't serve food anymore. When people ask me, I used to be a chef. I'm serving something else now. Mm-hmm. It's same. Yeah. Yep. Like I said, there's an art to everything. Find that flow, balance, empower, create. Balance your dish, balance the event, empower it. Put in the correct staff. Put in nice amenities, and then create the moment. Hope for the best. Prepare for the worst. Hope for the best. And that's amazing that you reminded me of that, bro. Because that's crazy. I did not remember that, but maybe I was just word vomiting, like you said, just little seedling ideas. And
I think that's what we were doing that
that's
morning.
Probably what it
was.
We
were kind of spitballing things. I thought it was interesting when you said, totally. I thought it was interesting, like, you're trying to rehab your knee in a way. Mm-hmm. And you went to like skating.
Yeah. I know. I was like, that doesn't seem like...
That's an interesting approach.
It made perfect sense to me.
It's not a typical approach. Like most people are going to go sit on a thing and like do like this motion and, a couple things. Like you went like straight like hyper, like mobility. Like
Yeah.
and strengthening. I mean, because like when you're skating, you're using like different muscles, and you people don't understand too, probably, unless they see some videos of you. You're not like a typical. You're not just like skating around
I'm an
in a
anomaly in
circle.
that field too.
You're like
Yes.
literally bending your ankles weird and getting low to the ground. And for a suit, how tall are you?
I'm 6'6" without skates, so on the skates I'm damn near 7 foot.
Yeah,
So I'm an anomaly in that community as well.
yeah.
Like
But so like you're this tall, lanky dude, and then like
No
the
offense, Taylor.
mobility, the mobility thing. I just
Yeah.
thought that was cool. Like you, instead of like doing your traditional like physical
Yeah,
stuff,
PT stuff.
yeah, physical therapy stuff. You went to like a completely different route, and it's like actually strongly benefited you
It
in
has
like, so many
you know where
ways.
that came from, right? It's work in the industry.
Oh yeah,
One of my jobs that I actually got fired from. You should ask me about
Yeah,
that. That's a whole other
yeah,
story.
yeah.
But let me explain where it came from. So this moment, actually, so I was working. Let me not state names. I was working at a corporate place, and it was the first time I had the genius. You know, you get these genius ideas along the way. Of taking a 6-inch hotel pan, flipping it, putting the towel below, and then a wet towel, and placing my cutting board on top of that, because I was starting to get neck issues.
Oh,
and
you
low
really
back.
did make a booster seat for your.
Yeah, exactly.
Literally. Okay.
I literally.
Yeah.
And that changed my entire world.
Yeah.
And so this is also around the time that, like I said, I'm becoming a little bit cynical of the industry. What else can I bring to the world that's valuable that I have experienced? And so I'm starting to think maybe I can utilize my basketball career, my injury-prone past, and people learn from this. But it started to all come together around this time, about when I met you. So this is why this all comes naturally. I started getting into posture. What's good for posture? Strengthening muscle imbalances. And like I said, I'm also looking back into roller skating. You're forced to stay, keep your posture right. You're forced to be aware in the moment. So I'm like, yeah, this is the perfect thing to strengthen my legs, keep them flexible, do something I love to keep my heart rate up, and also it's 50% less impact. It burns 600 to 1,000 calories an hour. I'm like, this is everything. Like I said, music, and so I think it was the industry, the food industry that got me into the fitness industry, because it was my pain that I was trying to run from. That now I'm bringing to people. Trying to pursue pleasure now.
I feel like
I love
too,
that.
our industry is like it can be backbreaking, like literally,
Literally backbreaking.
Yeah,
especially
like
catering, packing.
knee breaking for sure.
I wrote down health in the event industry because I think that is such a important topic. I mean, and you look at a lot of chefs; they're hunched over. They're 35 years old and they got a bad back.
And they eat like shit because they've been making food for everybody else all day. Yeah, and I work in venues, and the last 2 places that I was like a full-time employee had concrete floors. Like my last boss, I was like, so I'm gonna just set aside some money for a knee replacement for me if I work here for 10 years, because like this is rough on my feet. And I learned a lesson young about not wearing bad shoes, but even with that, I have reoccurring plantar fasciitis all the time. Ugh, like a motherfucker. Like,
I thought you said plantar fasciitis,
No.
but plantar, yeah.
Plantar fasciitis,
Either
yeah.
way, it could be,
yeah.
That don't feel good.
Yeah, I have like reoccurring tennis elbow. I failed tennis in college, so it's not from tennis.
I love that you could even take tennis in college. That
Yeah, I
was never
know.
a thing, but tennis on skates. I see it coming.
Someone just sent me a video on that actually on Instagram.
You should
They tagged me.
combine
Yeah.
what is it? Pickleball and skates.
Pickleball,
'cause-
same thing.
Yeah, pickleball's the new the hot shit
I would
right
try
now.
it. I'd be the crazy guy to try it.
Skittleball.
Skittleball.
Pickle. I don't know. I'm trying to. I'm coming
It's
up
got
with
to
a
be
new.
like combine the words like
Yeah,
skater
that was
It's
a
gotta be a
terrible
way.
attempt, but we'll
all right.
get there. But yeah, the health in the industry, man. I think that's,
That's
that's a huge thing.
It's not. Yeah, it's not really. So when I worked corporate, I was running from when I went to corporate. I was trying to get a job that I can get benefits and also some regular daytime hours to match up with my wife, who also worked in the industry, and she was trying to exit the industry as well.
Okay.
So for her, this was when we were fresh out of college. The money was good as a bartender and a server, right? For her, the hours were not. We didn't like coming home at 2 a.m, not
Right.
seeing each other like ships and pass the night, and the money's great, the cash tips and stuff, but like it was really difficult for her to make the jump to corporate, but you get benefits and consistent hours
Yeah.
and set schedule. But at that point, she was making less money.
Yes,
It
that's
was
a really hard
very
switch for
difficult.
people to make sometimes, like, because that money can be good.
It was so good. And,
Yeah.
like, you know, we're just trying to figure it out. But eventually, you know, she made the jump, and then now I'm trying to get on her page because I was like, okay, I can't be working nights and we never see each other. So this was my attempt at working a day job. You know, most food and hotel, it's at night, evening, but this was like a nice place. So yeah, that's when I was trying to pair with my wife and find some daytime work, you know, because yeah, late nights, the industry is just it's rough for late nights.
Yeah.
Long hours, high stress.
It's all part of that health thing. Yeah.
Everything.
Shitty sleep.
Yeah.
All of that.
Bad floors you're walking
and
on.
like
All of the
a lot
above.
of like bad cultural stuff is like drinking and
Yep,
drugs
there's a lot of that.
and yeah,
Smoke breaks.
smoke breaks. Oof, I know.
I understood why people need smoke breaks.
Yeah, it's like
I was partaking in some of those sometimes.
right. I just quit
As an
smoking
athlete.
like 2 years ago, and I'm like, thank God, I finally did. And but it was hard because it was like sometimes like the 5 minutes of peace that I got in an event, you know, like we were just, and also there is something like meditative about it because it's like you're forced to take deep breaths. I'm not saying that it's good for you, but you are doing it, you know. You have to take some
It's
deep
just a moment,
breaths.
yeah.
Yeah, you just like have to like sit, you know, stand in a corner for a minute and like go outside and you know, it's like it's the things that we should be doing just without the cigarette, right? Like
Congratulations on quitting, by the way.
thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shit. Yeah, I've been in and out of that one.
I wasn't gonna bring it.
Been in and out of that one. Yeah.
Yeah, it took me a long time though. I mean, and the thing is it's crazy because I didn't even really start. Like I used to in college, you know, like when you're drinking and stuff, you smoke and whatever. And I did that like through my 20s. I didn't really start like smoking until my 30s. But that was like when I was at Aria. Like
The industry.
I know exactly the day that I started smoking, like exactly the day. And it's like a long ass story. I won't tell it, but it was like so stressful. And somebody showed up and I knew they had cigarettes. And I was like, actually, someone was coming there to help me with something. And I was like, she's like, do you need anything? I was like, buy me a pack of cigarettes. She's like, really? And I'm like, absolutely. Like, I need it. And that was the day. And then it was like damn near 8 years later before I could quit. Yeah.
Oh shit! Wow.
Deep, yeah, slippery slope.
It is. I was gonna ask you, man. Tell me about the light bulb moment when you were like with the Twin Cities skaters.
Twin
like,
Cities
what
skaters.
was? Tell me about that moment when you were like, "Oh shit!" Like, boom.
That would have to be around pandemic time. I mean, that was a time that flipped a switch for a lot of people that year.
Yeah.
Most people for the negative, for the bad. For me, that was one of my best years. Because at
I say
that
that
time,
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He says it all the time, and I'm like, must be nice.
I loved COVID.
pandemic year was one of my best years.
It was one of my favorite for sure.
I think because now we talk about having the vision, right, and having all these skills. This is the time to capitalize, and not in a bad sense where you're trying to exploit people, but like you have skills. We're in an emergency situation.
Right.
The world needs stuff. How can I help people? Because that's how you ultimately create value for yourself. How can I apply my skills and push the envelope forward? Because the world stopped, but life goes on.
Right.
So there's a lot of systems that were just kind of lagging. And so at that time, I had an underground gym. And, you know, I'm a young trainer just trying to make a name for myself. I got full-time busy. I didn't, you know, I was working at the schools during the day. So school was out. I had nothing going on. Lifetime Fitness, all LA, they were cut. So suddenly I'm full time, whether people using my gym or hiring me for my one-on-one services. So that was a great year. On top of that, that was also the year that maybe the year before, I'd established a skate program at Minneapolis public schools. So once COVID came and I couldn't use my skates within the schools, they were sitting in the closet, just wasting away, collecting dust. I had a DJ that came to me, was like, hey, can you get your skates? Can we host an event at the park? We did it at Taft Park in Richfield because, you know, great location. I'm like, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
So Artisan Fitness, the way it was set up, I had an art side and a fitness side. So the gym side was popping. Full time, now I'm training people all day, every day. The art side, I could not sell. I was trying to get paint and wine. I could not sell one. Obviously, people don't want to come together, close settings.
Right.
So that was tough. I was trying to at least do portraits. No one was biting. I'm an artist guy. No one cared. So what I ended up doing was keeping those skates in that basement area, and I put a wall of mirrors. So now I was doing like skate lessons, and we were doing rehearsals and practicing. And just seeing those skates down there, and then after doing that event in Richfield, we got an encore from the people because the rinks were closed down as well. So we got an encore. Richfield shared our post, the actual city of Richfield, so they shared
cool.
it. So they were on board.
Yeah.
We didn't have any permits. This is just a meetup group at this point.
Yeah.
And we did it again, and then someone in St. Paul was like, "Hey, saw you guys on social media doing this cool thing. You're giving people free skates. Had a DJ. It looked like a vibe. Can you guys bring it over here? We'll pay you."
Oh, okay.
Boom.
That was the
light bulb moment.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And then so I'm sitting in my gym after late night, and I'm just I got these box of roller skates. Roller skating is directly in the middle of art and fitness.
Yeah, you're good.
So
You're good.
so I'm sitting in the gym and I'm looking at my boxes of roller skates. At this point, I had 4 or 5 boxes of skates that didn't fit me, but I'm looking at them, and roller skating is right in between art and fitness. You have to have a certain level of fitness entry to be able to enjoy it. But once you pass a certain point,
Yeah.
now it's an artistic expression.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And it covered all bases. And I'm like, that's the aha moment. Now I have to make a business. I told my DJ, we got to go LLC. As soon as we got that first payment from the St. Paul gig nonprofit, I cashed it in my personal name. But like, I saw it. I'm like, this is it. I'm going to go buy some more roller skates. And that's exactly what I did. I was collecting it as a passion project to work with the kids to do this for fun because I like it. There's a story on how that started too. There's stories within the stories. There's stories within the stories. But yeah, that was my aha moment, 2020. And from there, it's been on. I did eventually go back to the schools when they opened it back up. It was weird seeing the calendar locked at March, when the pandemic.
Right.
I came back. It was like a ghost town.
Yeah.
Seeing the calendar frozen like that. But I did come back. I finished the year. I think they started us with online classrooms. That was a joke.
Yeah.
Especially for me, I worked DCD and like special education. And so it was impossible to do my job.
Right.
So I couldn't take it seriously. So I went to double time on working in my gym and my business, building my brand of artisan fitness. And Twin Cities Skaters, like I said, I was watering this plant. It came like a weed. And it exploded.
I love that.
I mean, COVID was a time for innovation, for sure.
It was the time
it was, everybody was pivoting, everybody was innovating, everyone was doing it, and it's like it's in the air. You just are like, let's see what sticks, And that's incredible.
I think there's another quote. You're gonna have to help me out with this. That goes something. It goes something along the lines of like when there's a bad time, that's the best time to take opportunity. And like I said, I want to remind people not to play on the evil front of like.
Taking advantage. You're not a carpetbagger, right? Like you're,
Right. But that is the time to rise. And so if you can look at it that way, like then it can make life maybe less fearful.
I feel like what it sounded like you struggled with sometimes in the beginning was sort of like standard traditional like hierarchical like growth within an industry. And COVID was a time when that like kind of imploded, and so there was room for like people to move through that in a different way.
Kind of leveled the playing field for a short time.
Yeah.
It did.
Like no one was doing anything, and it was like
Correct.
If you were kind of already doing something, it was like a perfect time to build a
or
business.
If you were someone who could jump on an opportunity and really run with it and connect those dots. Yeah.
I had time to really have focus, which is one of my weaknesses. If I have a weakness, it's focus. I'm everywhere, spreading myself thin for a living.
Yeah, I get that.
Now I have time. I have clarity. I have time to experiment and give things a chance to see if it works out.
Yeah.
And this was something that I was ready. The call came, I answered right away, just like how I'm sitting here today.
Yeah.
It's the same exact way. And honestly, like you said, leveling the playing field, now I'm competing with giants. I am out booking Lifetime Fitness, literally in the entire city because they're closed.
Right.
I'm competing with roller rinks. They're closed.
Yep.
And so now I'm just this guy. At that point, Wall Street Journal, they're reaching out. There's a skate shortage. There's a TikTok boom in 2022 for roller skating. That really helped the business out. So a lot of this is luck.
Yeah.
But who is this random dude in Minneapolis that has hundreds of skates? And how did you get that during the skate shortage?
Right.
I was on it a year
You're like,
or
I've
two
been working
before
on
the
it.
edge.
Yeah.
Yes. I was on it. And so that's part of like how the story unfolds. And going into 2025, it's crazy. I'm like, pinch me. 5 years since I jumped off the cliff to be full-time entrepreneur, it's been great.
Yeah.
And I can't say that honestly that this way is going to happen to everyone who takes this path. There's some hard times. Like there's some very hard times that I'm not really showing in the highlight reel. There are nights that I'm packing my SUV truck that's breaking down, and like it's snowing on me, it's cold, I don't have anywhere to place these skates, I'm trying to keep them dry. And like, so I've done my work.
Right.
My knuckles have been bloody many times. So it's really nice to be at this position now to see all of it manifested and make sense. And actually, us having this conversation, you took your route too, and it's really fun.
It's cool to see us both doing something and having fun doing it. Yeah. Did you have something? Otherwise, we're gonna fast forward.
I was just gonna say, like, it's interesting. Like, it's yes, people see the highlight reel, right? Like, that's like the way it is. But part of the reason they see the highlight reel is because you didn't give up, right? Like, in those moments when it was super hard, other people would just be like, fuck this, like, I'm out, I can't do this. And there's been like the last, like, so I left my like full-time salaried position in December of 2019 to start my own business, which was like in events. Fucking great timing, right? And I kind of joke about how COVID was really hard for me on like on a mental health like sort of place, but it was a point of reflection and an opportunity to really like be like kind of sit in like thought, because I'm also the same way. Like, I'm not great at focus. I've also never really given myself much of a break to like work on stuff like that. I'm usually like just being reactive, and it gave you like an opportunity to be proactive about stuff like that. And like just having that base during that time, it sets you up in a different way than like if you had like come up with this idea somehow organically and we're trying to do it while everything else is happening in the world just normally, like it would have been so different.
Yeah, it wouldn't have happened. And you know, now that I have something to work with, there can be the opposite problem now. So I also have a resume in childcare and daycare. So my family ran a daycare for almost a decade, 9 years. Pretty successful, and that was actually my first job out of college. I ran the food and did the menu. But our problem was we grew too fast, and we tried to sell the business because we couldn't sustain it. So it's keeping things manageable. And that was also funding our other business, which we did local artists, clothes, and puzzles. Anyway, we lost both businesses. And so at that time, that's when I was setting up Artisan Fitness in that basement of that other business, because I knew if I put weights there or a station there, it's going to be there the next day. It's not going to call in sick.
Sure.
So I was trying to think of an industry that I can be successful in, but also a way that I can not have to depend on people, because running a daycare was just not.
Staffing's not easy.
It wasn't easy. Where was I going with this? So we became too successful.
Yeah.
That is a real issue.
Yeah.
So flow control.
Right.
We had to sell the business. We lost both those businesses. Now we're out of everything.
Yeah.
The sale didn't go good, so we didn't even get, what we should have gotten from that.
Right.
Now, we always carry our experience with us, but that's why I'm like, staff, I want to stay away from that for a while. Brick and mortar, let me build up my popularity first.
Right.
There's a lot that I learned from that. Flow control. Now that I'm at this business right now and blowing up, everyone's like, you should do this and this and this. I'm like,
yeah.
Flow, I want to organically build it, setting up things just like how before this podcast, we're doing little things just along the way that you don't know till you know.
Yeah.
And I would much rather do it that way than just be open and have everything come at me, and then now I can't handle it, can't handle the load.
Yeah.
Right.
Got to shut the studio down.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, if I make an analogy, I compare it to personal training. If I were to naturally train and be a natty buff guy, I actually wrote down 5 goals. I got all of them except being buff. Something got to give, right? But like, I would rather take those 5 years and do it the right way, right? And then instead of taking steroids, now your muscles are like this,
right?
But your tendons didn't have the time to develop. You rip a pec.
You don't have a neck anymore. Like, it's
you lost because you didn't set it up on,
I know, also posture.
So you got to set up things on solid ground, and you do that brick by brick.
Right.
Every single day. I work doubles every day, still. Every day.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry, one more.
No,
I
you're
was
good,
just
you're
going to
good.
say, like, I think one of the things that was hard during COVID was, like, it upended so many things about, like, how people did business that, like, if you were too big, you were sometimes just, like, too successful to be able to be adaptable in that time frame.
Yep.
And I think that is a lesson to take with us of, like, it's not just about how we can scale up, it's how we can scale down.
Yep, that
you
was
know?
my lesson, is keeping things manageable.
Yeah.
And for a while there, I got to fly under the radar
Yeah.
until I was ready to come out. Hey, everyone, this is, and the people who have been down with me from the start, they've been seeing it cooking.
Right.
They're seeing it cooking. They
Right.
don't know where it's gonna go, but now that I come out official LLC, we're here.
Yeah.
And now having the studio, even more so, especially, we get a lot of community people. Hey, you guys were the perfect job. We're so excited for you. You've earned this. And especially Uptown, they've accepted us with open arms, and especially the cultural movements after the pandemic and
Right.
all of that. What's ironic is we started in the same time in the same neighborhood as the George Floyd.
Right.
It was 2020. I worked at Richard Green
yeah,
Central.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
that same neighborhood. That happened at 38th in Chicago, right? My studio's 40th in Chicago. So I lived.
You were, like,
I
literally
was
right there. Yeah.
Same time. So I was there, and while that was happening, all the burning and stuff, I'm here. I'm here. I'm
Yeah.
working below
Yeah.
ground. So yeah, it's nice to see it pay off. It's also, I feel afraid to give advice to people to say, yeah, make that jump, go ahead and do it.
Right.
There's a certain thing of, like, calculated risk taking as well as luck that has to come into play with this.
Yep.
And it just happened to work out for me. This isn't for everyone.
No.
Well, like you said a little while ago, the timing.
Timing is
But and
everything.
you mentioned something else equally as important: popularity. Skating is like an old school thing.
Yep.
It's been around, like it was like cool when our grandparents, like, probably, or I don't, how long has it been around? Like
The 80s was the peak.
Yeah, I was
80s,
gonna say-
1981 was the exact peak.
okay. I don't know. I'm like, shit. I'm picturing my grandpa.
I was like,
Yep.
I used to go skate.
Well,
I
I've
mean,
seen a couple old school videos where they
Yeah.
had like
Yeah.
weird, like the individual, the uni wheel or whatever, like the one wheel.
Oh,
You
that's
saw
really-
some
oh,
old
yeah,
school.
yeah.
Like, so skating in a theory has been around for quite a while, but like, yeah, okay.
pretty
So it
timeless.
peaked in the '80s, right? And then now it's back. Look at Super Bowl.
Yep.
2024.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
The whole thing was centered around skating. Do you remember that?
I don't watch like Super
Usher.
Bowl.
You're talking about Usher.
halftime show.
Usher.
Yeah.
We got on the news
Usher
again.
was on skates.
Yep, we got on the
You
news
guys were on the
again
news for that?
We've been on the news a few times, but specifically for that event, they wanted
Tell
to
me
ask
about
us.
all that. Tell me about that.
So, the TikTok boom 2020.
Yeah.
What's the irony here? God, you can't make, like, I have stories within these stories that you can't make this shit up.
Right.
Like, I didn't grow up in a religious household. At this point, I'm a believer. Because some of these things, it's okay.
Yeah.
One of them is during one of these days, I was just riding my bike, had a wife beater, and just a empty duffel bag. I think I was probably coming from hooping or something. I found a pair of skates sitting on the side of the road. That's why, because I was already going to thrift stores collect. That's why I knew,
Damn.
like, okay, this is the route.
You were
get
already
signs.
collecting. It wasn't like the first pair of skates. It was
No,
like, but
it was-
somebody left it out there. I mean, it was.
It was
The
confirmation.
universe left it right
was
there,
the
right?
daggers,
Damn.
like,
Yeah.
Where do you remember where this was at?
Longfellow neighborhood, random. I just happened to have an empty bag,
Right.
riding my bike.
Yeah. Because otherwise, how are we going to take these skates on your bike,
Exactly.
right?
It was
Yeah. Yeah.
At least a 5-mile ride home.
Just kismet.
There's another time where, I have a work truck now, so I drive my SUV with the kids in the work truck. I happen to have an empty bed, and I'm passing a huge ass mirror that I was looking for. It's just like, all right, you messing with me? Come on, come on.
Just fell right into place.
But you also
Everything
have to
fell
be
right into
somebody who's
place.
willing to embrace it when that thing is like handed to you. You know, like not everybody can connect those dots that quickly
Or
or like
identify it.
identify it
Yeah.
or then be like, let me just do it, you know?
I've acquired some haters along this route, which is a whole nother thing that I've learned to deal with. But someone tried to use this word as I guess, negative. They said I'm an opportunist.
Okay.
I don't see that.
You're like, I grasp opportunities.
Now they tried to
Yeah.
frame it in the sense that
Yeah, no,
he's
I
a
get it.
narcissist. No, I'm definitely an opportunist. Definitely, and it's having that vision to capitalize. That's
I don't see that as a negative thing necessarily, but if they intended it negatively, I could see. How
I think
that
if
was.
people see it sometimes from the the end product and they look back and they think like, oh, you took these opportunities. Like, well, yeah, I took these opportunities. Like, not everybody would have taken those opportunities. It's not an exploitation situation. It's not like you were exploiting somebody by taking these skates off the side of the road.
Sounds
right?
like jealousy.
I mean,
That it worked out so freaking
people think it
beautifully.
happened like by chance or by like, I mean, and some of it is chance, but it's also like your willingness to jump in and do it, right?
Yeah. Have you ever been driving and you kind of zone out?
Yeah.
And then,
Every day.
I'm like, how the hell did I get here? How the hell did I get
and
here?
then you're there. You're
I'm like, oh, I went to the wrong place. Damn it.
well,
That's happened to me a
assuming
few
you get
times.
to the right
Right.
place, you
Done
reach your
both of those,
destination, and you don't even realize what happened in between time. That's what happened to me in these last 5 years. Just even proof that evidence that you were telling me about the story. I don't even remember saying that. 5 years later, I'm here.
Right.
There's been so many coincidences and just idiosyncrasies that come along the way that just shows me, keep going.
Right.
You're on the right path. And then when I had any doubt, when I wanted to quit, I got the shove.
Right.
And I can't stop. Now I have thousands of people waiting. Now I got to go.
Yeah.
And now it's like I'm hands off the wheel.
Yeah.
It has made its road. And back then, I couldn't tell you how I was going to get there myself. I didn't know. But now that we're here, I think, like I said, just not having the fear to just make the jump.
Yeah.
And I didn't even realize that was a strength of mine. Like, I thought I'm good at drawing. I'm a tall, lanky basketball player. I'm cool with people. But, like, this has transformed to a whole nother thing now that I'm affecting huge communities and huge industries. Like, now I'm a big player in the roller skate community. And considering that there's only 2 rinks in town, and we're right in the middle of the heart of the city. Like now, like I said, we're a major player to be contended with, and now we're a local household name.
Yeah.
Like Betty Crocker. That's
Yeah,
crazy to say.
That's great. No, and go back to the Super Bowl
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
So
I
how
wanna
did
hear
that
about
all
that.
intertwine?
Super Bowl. So when I go back to Super Bowl, that was kind of a year of rediscovery, right? So my now wife at the time and I. So basically, we moved to Arizona with no plan. No, nothing anchoring us back at home. We knew we were going to get married and get a home and blah, 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 do the whole, picket fence. But we wanted to have an adventure year first, right? A staycation, we called it. So we drove there, U-Haul, no plan. I literally got a catering job a few blocks away. I'm driving, I don't know Arizona. I put it in my GPS. I'm driving there in our shared car. And I find out I could have walked here. I'm eating an apple. I'm only 2 bites in, and I'm already at my location. I'm like, I can skate here.
I was just going to say, did you skate there every day?
I can skate. So, I either ran, for my cardio or I skated there.
Okay.
And when I lived in Arizona, they don't have winter like us, so I roller skated every day. I roller skated, and I got pretty good very quickly. And because it was the consistency, if I were to train someone and I tell someone, okay, your main goal is to get your chest strong, if they did 100 push-ups in one day, rather than if they spread it out and did 20 every day. If they did 20 for every day of the week, they're going to have more than if they did 100 that one day. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So by me having that exposure with roller skating a little bit every day, whether it be riding to my catering company or just doing a little bit taking the trash out. So I got this opportunity to work at this catering company for the first time, mom and pop shop. They really liked that they could utilize me front of the house, back of the house. I love that I could just roll there because we had one car in Arizona. And luckily for us, they were having the Super Bowl. They had experienced and done it before, so they knew what to look out for. So it was really comforting for me to have them have that experience and know what to expect. So I can just show up and do my job and trust that they have everything else that's happened above me. I mean, we prepped thousands of sandwiches.
Yeah.
At all hands on deck. Boss, everyone. Got the gloves on. We're making sandwiches. So Super Bowl, the main event, it was very interesting because I call it one of my weirdest events. There's just a lot that goes into it.
Right.
The Super Bowl isn't the kind of event that it's not like a restaurant you could walk in and have the host greet you. They vetted all of us employees out well beforehand.
Oh, yeah.
Background check. They take your picture. You have to have,
you got to get the credentials. It's like working at the White House. Yeah.
Correct. Everyone had to have their correct credentials. We have to have our badge.
Yep.
Plain white shirt. We show up. We're taking a shuttle bus.
Yep.
It was very, very, we met all of our stuff on site. And it was an experience I'll never forget because it reminded me of like camping. They set up this kitchen in the middle of a field. And, as the jets are flying above our head, There's like a fridge that's going bad, and like we saw a fire. So like just the randomest things. And I just remember walking to the location. We're in a line. There's this huge bag of water. I've never seen a bag of water so large. It was like 2 stories tall.
Oh my God, what?
Yeah.
For what? What was
Water.
Just water.
It was a makeshift kitchen. So we weren't the only caterer.
So like
there
the
was
sink.
lots of
okay.
main water source.
It was like a water tower.
Huge bag of water.
Okay.
I've never seen anything. It's big as a building.
Amazing.
A silo of water that just plopped there.
Yeah.
And it was very like I said, reminded me of camping. You had to make do with what you had there.
Yeah.
Very limited resources. So like you're doing things like using tools you're not supposed to. Maybe using a spatula to cut on the grill because you only came there with what you have, and everyone's in the same predicament. Someone grills goes down. You have to. There was just so much happening.
It's like the most orderly chaos you've ever seen in your life. Okay. Yeah.
Because the NFL is very strict on certain things. Very strict. Right, and even certain so strict that like they would tell us this isn't even our rules. The NFL says this.
Right.
They paid for this. So our thing was we had the sandwiches that we prepped up, but our food was for the VIPs that were coming for the pre-party.
Okay.
So our job was to create these. We had these chili lime shrimp things, skewers, and all of us had bloody fingers prepping those because we're skewing thousands and thousands of shrimp.
Yeah.
The most sad part about this story is these guys, they paid thousands of dollars to have this ticket. They're ex-NFL players. So we saw some big names, some people we recognize, right? And we're serving them. We didn't use all that shrimp that they ordered. The saddest part about this story is we had to throw half of that away.
Oh, yeah.
Think of things that we've prepped all week for, all month for, and we've literally blood, sweat, and tears.
Right.
Yep.
And for us to show up and say, all right, dump the rest.
Yeah.
We're like, nope.
Nope.
You have to dump the rest. You must. And
yeah, no, I've been there many times in the catering world. It's
we've
scary.
had to do that.
Yeah, we don't talk about it that often.
But they
The
were
waste.
there even more
Yeah.
so than catering, like double.
Yeah.
And so what we did, I mean, I'm not a wasteful person. I ate as much shrimp as I could. I went back on that bus ride with a stomachache, believe me. All of us did.
Yeah, you have
But
to.
that was just so sad to see all that money get wasted. But it just everything about that experience just made me feel like a little ant. I'm 6'6", and like I just felt like such a little guy. This is huge. This is beyond big. And just the Super Bowl experience, just like I said, there's so many things happening that it's hard to take it all in at one time.
Right.
And on top of that, it's not like I have cell phone pictures to refer back to. They
can't.
didn't let us. No,
Yeah.
none of that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So this is pure hearsay of believing what I say, and then us employees who happen to work that event. That's something we'll always cherish as a memory forever.
Did you
Yeah.
say 2016 that was roughly?
It was roughly 2016, maybe
Okay.
2015, 14. It was around that time.
And then fast forwarding to 2024 Super Bowl,
Minneapolis Super
Usher
Bowl.
spent half the time on skates, right?
Oh yeah. I thought you were gonna go to Minneapolis Super Bowl. So I actually worked that Super Bowl too when I was with D'Amico. Let's fast forward to the Usher Super Bowl. So now I'm in full force in the roller skate industry. Usher has had a skate team that he's been traveling with. So here's a story about Usher. He's a skater. He's always loved skating, but he's from Atlanta. Atlanta is huge into the roller skate community. I would say that's the capital of the United States in roller skate. Like that's just the mecca. So Usher has had this traveling skate team, the best of the best. We all know these skaters. We see them online. They're like the skate celebrities. You guys may not recognize them by name, but very apparent. As soon as you see them, oh, they're different.
Yep.
They're professional.
Right.
Like, I'm a damn good skater. There's levels to this shit, right?
Yep.
These guys are the best of the best. They've been traveling with Usher. So now we're also getting good with Rydell. Best roller skates in the world. They're not paying me to say this. Right here in Red Wing, Minnesota.
Really?
Yep. Did you know that?
No, I did not
Yep.
know that.
Rydell
Nice.
roller skates, Rydell leather, Rydell boots.
Is that what you're playing with up there?
Yep, I got Rydell Customs right there. Those
Nice.
cost more than my pickup truck.
What?
What?
Those were an investment.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, so Rydell was, kind of creeping up to this post like we got something special coming on. Boom, they dropped the Super Bowl special skates custom made for Usher and his crew.
Okay.
So now they get to release all this stuff. They've been working for months. They're performing on the biggest screen, the biggest of the biggest that you can get. roller skating is back. So the 2020 boom, TikTok boom, has turned into the 2024 Usher Super Bowl halftime show. Now we're getting called back to the news station. This is the second or third time at this point.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I did see you on the news.
We were on the news we've been to a lot of different ones. And so after that, they had to, kind of get our take on that. And so we got to perform at the news station again and talk about, roller skating, how it's still being repopularized. And the TikTok boom, it's still rolling. Roller skating is back in. And here's your proof. It's on the biggest stage in the entire world. And honestly, this has never been done before. Like I said, in my mind, it only makes sense. If you can do it on skates, why not? I would have tried it. I did try it. But it's nice to get that validation from someone from such a high echelon that is bringing this awareness to the mainstream population. Because a lot of people, they associate roller skating with their childhood or kids.
Right.
That's one of the things I kind of dislike, because that completely disregards us, that negates us as adult skaters. There's a whole crowd of people that still do this. And
I definitely I'm not on TikTok very often because I'm afraid of falling into that hole and never getting out of it.
It's actually probably better for you.
Yeah, but and because I already have enough doom scrolling in my life, I don't need any more. But I do remember very, very specifically during COVID, seeing some of those things come across my timeline, on Instagram or whatever, and being just transfixed by it, because it's so interesting to see, and having someone do it on that stage in that level, it brings this different level of credibility to it, where it's this isn't, it's sort of in events, right? Sometimes I think people think our job is to do cute, pretty things, right? And we make things look prettier, we make it fun or whatever, but it's no, there's a lot that goes into this. There's a lot of layers to it. There's a lot of professionalism in it. And these are athletes, absolutely athletes. Yeah.
Yeah. And, it reminds me of the saguaro cactus. They take hundreds of years to grow. They take a very, very long time to grow. Arizona had a different kind of beauty. I got to appreciate it going there and back, coming back to Minneapolis. But when you look at their flower, everyone sees the flower on the top. They don't see the cultivation, everything that comes to that point. And yeah, it's that was that moment was just roller skating is definitely here. Usher's touring with his skate crew. And like I said, we knew that coming into that, but now that the Super Bowl is here, it's here.
Right.
Roller skating is back.
And it's just brings it to a whole different, wider audience. And I think that there's, and maybe, I don't know if this is kind of a left-hand thing to say, but, or just out of the blue, but with Usher and Atlanta and all that was making me think about how roller skating, I think, has been big in the Black community for a lot longer. And it's becoming much more mainstream in more different populations, right?
Yep. And, it's funny that you mentioned that. People say roller skating is back. We say it's never left.
Yeah. Yes.
So
that's
exactly that. And this isn't the first time this has happened.
Right.
So there's been waves of resurgence with the roller skating. So there was one in the 40s and 50s. And then obviously the 80s is most notable because it was at its peak. Everyone can think of Billie Jean, the music video. And also the 80s, it's big because a lot of rap artists, that's where their first performance was, because they weren't allowed to perform in regular venues. So there's a cultural
at
aspect.
skate parks or
at skate rinks. Some of their first events were at skate rinks. And fast forward to now,
that's
bringing
so
the music
interesting.
into place. Thursdays is our live music. So we do skateroke, but we also do live music. So before I came to this, I was the vocalist, but we have we have a full drum set in our studio. We have bass, guitar, all the piano. And so we do live music performances within the rink, just like what they did in the 80s.
Cool.
But we actually have done a lot of presentations and demonstrations talking about that, and especially around Black History Month, and talking about Black culture and how we've kept roller skating alive. Once, I feel like roller skating is just once Black culture gets a hold of something, we
make it a little special.
We change it, just something about our style.
Put a little sprinkle on it. Yeah.
Something about it. Yeah. And
no,
so
real.
we've done that, like I said, we've done it in the 50s and the 80s, and then now. And so a lot of people who know just how they've seen roller skating, or they get introduced and they see all these other people, it just opens the veil of a whole nother world that you may not even know that exists. And there's rules within that world. You got to know the traffic laws when entering the rink. If you just show up there We call them pandemic skaters. We know you guys. We can spot you from a mile away.
Yeah. I'm not even that.
Yeah. Well, we see you guys, and we love you.
Yeah.
Right? We want you to come in, and we want you to experience it, and because if we keep doing the same move in the same corner the same way, it's going to die there. So we need mainstream support because the irony in this entire story is while the TikTok boom is going, rinks are closing. Mm-hmm. So it's almost like it's going two different. The energies are going two different directions.
Right.
And still to this day, rinks are closing.
That's wild.
That's part of the reason why Twin Cities Skaters is relevant is because we were bringing roller skate culture to the mainstream and providing the opportunities for people to skate.
You know what's funny is this would have been back in like the 90s. I don't know if your guys' school used to do this too, but they used to take us to like a skate rink.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was called Cheapskate.
So it depends on which side of town you're on.
Is that still alive?
Cheapskate's one of 2.5 rinks left in town. Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know what city or can't even tell you.
There were 2 Cheapskates.
Yeah.
Yep. There actually were 2.
You never did that?
Oh, I'm from like rural Minnesota, so we had to go. Well, yeah, but you were close to the city. I was like 2 hours away, so we had to go to like Brownsdale or something. I can't remember where the skate rink was, but it was far away. But I definitely used to like I joke that because I'm like rural Minnesota, I used to go skating and like to Garth Brooks, right? Like that's what they used to like the Thunder Rolls. Definitely used to roller skate to that, you know. So it was a little bit different maybe, but it's there's not a lot of rinks left these days. Like it's not.
Nope.
So I want to just like clarify real quick. So what you have. You're in Uptown, right? And it's
Correct.
the old CB2 building or space? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like, tell us a little bit about what it is.
So, we had an event there last year, Winter Wonderland, with Uptown, and the event went pretty well. I mean, decent turnout. I would say 30, 40 people for us. That's a good turnout. We can have anywhere from 100 to City Center had 500. So, I thought it went okay. Uptown, the property manager, she loved our professionalism. She loved the vibe and how wholesome it was and family oriented. And she basically stepped to me and was like, hey, would you be interested in having a residency? And we loved it. And for us, it was nice because it does have concrete floor. With roller skating, where the rubber meets the road, that's the biggest, most expensive point, but that's what matters most. Wood is preferred, but hardwood, just like basketball, it's preferred. Concrete's hard on the joints.
Yeah.
But that's the next best thing for smoothness. And it's most frugal, too. So it had the floor. It was set to go.
Yeah.
So
you don't need a lot. Like,
nope,
yeah.
Nope. Essentially, all we did was take our pop-up business and set it up in there. And we've done our pop-up business. We're on year 5, and we're half a year in Uptown.
Okay.
And how I describe it is we are exactly in the middle of special events and fitness and wellness. We are health focused, fitness conscious, but we have the ability to party and get down. So
it's an interesting juncture too of like something that can be super family friendly but also adult. Like it doesn't it doesn't have to be one or the other. Like you can't always, like maybe not at the same time.
It's not even age. It's universal.
Yeah.
That's another thing I like about roller skating. It doesn't matter if I'm tall and black and tired that day and have a bum knee that's sore. What I love about it is gravity doesn't care and it's consistent. And if you don't make your relationship with it, you're going to find out in the wheels. But it doesn't care how you identify. It doesn't care about your political stand. Everything about it is universal.
Yeah.
From my son started skating since he could walk, all the way to people who I know a guy who's passed. He could backflip to the day he passed on roller skates.
Jesus. Terrifying, but I love it. Amazing.
So this is another way that I saw a route, not only professionally, but personally, that I can express and free myself. I can do this till I die and be just fine. So it's multi-gender, multi-race, multi-ethnic. Everything about it was all-encompassing. So
inclusive to everyone.
Very inclusive.
As long as you're able-bodied, right? Like obviously
Correct.
There's
limitations, but there's something that everyone can enjoy, even if the people who can't skate or who used to skate.
You can watch it.
They watch it.
Yeah, I can't skate, and I love watching it. I got
so fun.
very into the videos.
You can do it around alcohol too, right? Or how does that work? I'm only asking. Here's why I'm asking, because you didn't even know that I saw you this day, but you were at 56 Brewing.
Yep.
And I was passing through with a buddy, had a quick meeting over there.
Yep.
And you were in the side room.
Yep.
And I'm like, who the hell is that tall ass motherfucker? And I'm like, oh, that's my buddy James. And then I'm like, you were busy and doing your thing, and I was on my way out kind of, but I saw you at 56 Brewing. I think you were at Quincy Hall.
Yep.
A couple of weeks
We've
back.
been at Quincy Hall.
I just assumed there was potentially drinking at both of these things
there
going
is.
on. So like, I mean, maybe not for skaters, but I'm just asking because
Maybe
I think
there's
it's
a limit. Yeah, yeah.
I guess I'm digging into the event side of it, where I think it's a great thing. And I mean, I obviously even like Enticing Entertainment in the past has like had people skating around. And,
Yep, I know those guys.
Yeah.
So it's like, what? I guess how big of a footprint do you think you can have in the special events section?
I have a interesting take on this. So for one,
I'd probably get better if I drank.
No, you may think you're gonna get better.
No, I'm kidding.
Liquid courage, but
You can be loose, but you're gonna fall hard.
exactly. Alcohol takes the very first thing it takes away is coordination and judgment. So from a fitness aspect, it's the worst thing.
Right, totally.
It takes away everything that you need in order to pull off these moves. And honestly, sip and skate is one of the most popular things. So when we did that at 56 Brewing, we had a 2-year residency there, which was very great. I love 56. Tap rooms and all breweries, actually, once we found out they have a clean concrete floor, that's why I'm reaching out to breweries. So that's how that happened. But it does not mix. It's like oil and vinegar. Both are fluid, but they don't mix.
Yeah.
So here's my personal stance on it.
Sure.
I partake. I myself, as a professional skater, have a 1 to 2 drink rule. Take that as you will.
Yep.
And also as like a 6, how tall are you? 6'6"?
I'm 6'6".
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a long way down.
Yeah. Well, and also you might have a higher tolerance, maybe than higher metabolism. I don't know.
I can't drink for shit.
Yeah.
So
Okay. Never mind then.
I don't got much to me, so it goes straight to the head. So I just say, do as I say, not as I do.
Sure.
You want to get yourself to a point where you can chew and walk at the same time, and in this case, be comfortable where you're not self-conscious on the skates. Like, I can have the same conversation, probably even better if I was on the wheels. So, because I've had the over 10,000 hours of being comfortable. So, yeah, now I can enjoy a drink.
Sure.
And, yeah, I'm going to get the benefit of loosening up without, to a point, taking away the integrity of my skating. Like I said, 1 to 2 drink, I spread it out. I drink my water. But other people, now I've had people, the first week we opened up our studio, break their wrist.
Right.
This person was in our class the day before. Probably not the best idea to have 3 drinks. And
they had a couple drinks and then broke their
they come
wrist.
skating. So a lot of people, this is my other hang up about roller skating. They think this is just for kids and the nostalgia, and then they look to this as a good time, and this is just for fun. Roller skating is very dangerous.
Yeah, it's athletic. It's
very dangerous.
Yeah.
You can break your shit.
Yeah.
Literally. So I don't shy away from that. I give everyone the heads up. Like, this is fun. You see me twirling around. Like,
You make it look really easy, I will say.
Yeah, but
that's the job of a professional.
It is the job of a professional.
Exactly. Yeah.
100%.
Like if I actually ever did, I would be like, let me get them wrist guards and that, because like, yeah, we did a Zoomies event at one of the places that I run, and I saw like a little bird-boned 17-year-old break his wrist, and
Yep. It don't take much. It happens very quickly.
Yeah.
Very quickly.
You also do, and sorry if I cut anyone off there, but you have your skates like really loose.
Yes.
I wanted to just hear about that because like that's for a reason, obviously mobility and certain things. Yeah, go ahead.
I like that you can reach that. That's amazing.
7-foot arms comes in. Pros and cons.
Yeah, let's check it out. So tell us about this expensive ass skate that's more than your truck.
Sheesh. They're my special boots. These are my money makers. It was definitely an investment. So first thing that a lot of people comment on, how I wear them so loose. Another thing that I say, do as I say, not as I do. There we go. Do as I say, not as I do. If you don't have 20, 30 years of basketball and roller skating on your ankles, lace up.
Yeah.
I've been skating for almost 30 years. Right, so between the basketball and the roller skating.
Oh, you wear your laces like this?
Yeah,
I literally slip my foot on right now,
and then you can skate on that because that looks like I would definitely bust my ass open. Yeah, no shit.
I wear them this loose.
Okay.
Now, the good news is, these are solid boots, high quality boots made by Rydell. I bought these boots, so I was riding underbooted for a long time. I was wearing boots that probably could have broke my fucking ankle, doing advanced tricks. But with this boot, I get the best of both worlds when I don't lace up. So I get all the support with all the range of motion. So I can bend down, do a toddler squat, get all the way down. I actually won all the limbo contests at my height. You got to get
Amazing.
low. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I do that just because I have it so loose. And like I said, I'm an anomaly.
Yeah.
So between the basketball and luckily for me, I never did hurt my ankle. I hurt every other corner of my body. I've never really rolled an ankle that bad.
Okay.
And so now I like to say I got ankles of steel.
Rub it in.
Right.
That's why I told you, come roller skate.
For those that
you
are
up.
wondering why I just rolled the shit out of my ankle playing basketball like a couple days back. So
And,
I'm on the mend, limping
So
around.
I would recommend roller skating, taking it slow. And even if you don't come roller skate, I have a balance and stability assessment that I would have you come through, and it's going to tell you a lot about what's going on before you even get into the skates. And actually, we have lessons tonight, Sunday through Tuesday at TCS Studio. I have everyone run through this balance and stability test, and I can tell how good you're going to be based on how you do this test. So before we put the wheels on your feet, because any muscle imbalances that you have, it's going to get exposed much more quickly with the wheels beneath your feet.
Yeah, that's fair.
So with my setup, I have a dance boot.
No brakes.
I do have a toe stop.
Oh, okay, I
It's
see.
barely there.
Yeah.
I don't use it as such a brake. I don't stop.
Okay, sure.
I don't stop. I either move around.
Did you
the
take it
target.
off or
Or
did it
spin.
rub? Did it wear down?
That's worn down.
Okay.
But that's for me doing advanced tricks, slides and stuff. It's not for me breaking an emergency.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
So
I love it.
These boots cost pretty penny. The next most expensive part is this plate, and then this is where the rubber meets the road.
And how
So-
often do you need to change out wheels?
Depends on how rough you are. So say if I did some really rough skating outdoors every day, and then it would probably be much more quicker. I bury 10 pounds more to my right than my left, but I don't wear my wheels very much. So rink skaters, they do a lot of the same counterclockwise circle. I'm more of a freestyle skater. I'm going in all directions at all times, so I'm not wearing one corner of my wheel as quickly as maybe the normal skater.
Gotcha.
And that's another advantage of our studio is we're not a traditional rink in the sense that it's an oval.
Yeah,
Big
you're
old
not just
circle.
going in circles the whole time.
Nope,
Yeah.
this is more of a training facility for skaters, and since it's that, you have to go in different directions, but that cross trains you in different directions. And
Interesting.
as a trainer, that's much better for muscle imbalances. You're
Right.
not just cranking one hip and one side over and over and over again.
Yeah,
And there's a lot of skaters that get one wheel worn down a lot more than the other, whereas
that'd be me.
yeah,
Be doing
probably
the same trick over and over again like an old
one
dog.
trick pony.
Yeah.
I feel like we might have to wrap for today, but I think we definitely should come out to the studio sometime, maybe like film a little.
Yeah, let me get my ankle back to normal.
Yeah.
Sure, I'll come out and
Yeah.
rip it around with you.
And I'll sit and watch. And I'll
But-
narrate it.
Before we end this here, do you want to plug the
Yeah,
business
please.
so that people
sure.
can find you?
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
All the businesses.
All the businesses. Well, so funny enough, my original business, Artisan Fitness, has been rebranded recently into Skater Sculpt Fitness. And what Skater Sculpt Fitness is essentially working out on roller skates. So if you're not a skater, not a strong skater, this is a chance to become a strong skater. And no, you don't have to be a good skater to participate in the class. We're standing on a yoga mat. We're using our skates as weights. So an example would be arm pressing or roll out. So Skater Sculpt Fitness is happening at Twin City Skater Studio. That's in Uptown. Twin City Skater Studio is unique to just Uptown right now. I'm keeping that name open just in case we have a Twin City Skaters downtown, West End, St. Paul, Chicago, who knows?
Yeah.
But Twin City Skaters is the main umbrella LLC
Okay.
that brings all of them together. TCS Studios where all the magic happens right now. But Twin City Skaters is the main brand. You can find us anywhere on social media, Facebook, Instagram. We're all over the place. We actually just got a website, www.twincitysskaters.com. Our entire growth has been just boots on the ground, word of mouth, social media.
And do you need skates, or can you come and just use some of your?
We have over 500 pairs of skates.
Awesome.
We have plenty. We usually run out
So
of
show up.
space before skates. Most of
Nice.
our events, especially offsite, are free. 99% of our events are funded by someone else, so you can just show up as you are. the family. They're wholesome.
That's such an incredible thing
I
that is
love
like
that.
not easy to come by. Like think about how much it costs to go to a movie these days, you know,
right.
or
This is
do
free.
almost anything.
And on top of that, it's health conscious. It's
Yeah.
sober fun. It's
Yeah.
free. It's clean energy. Let's talk about transportation. This is what I love about roller skating. Is it's all the things.
Yeah,
all
you're
in
probably
one.
not like, I mean, hopefully not scrolling your phone while you're skating too.
No, you have to be aware. It's
yeah.
meditative. It's actually a therapeutic for a lot of people. A lot of
Yeah.
people say, if you look up the hashtag roller skate, skate therapy. So Twin City skaters, I mean, like I said, I never envisioned all of this. I mean, once I saw the peak, then I could see all of this happening.
Yeah, you connected the dots, but
I connected dots, but now at this point, we fulfilled dying wishes. We have prophesied people's dreams that they've had. We've, fulfilled a lot of things that I never foresaw.
right.
And that's just having fun on the wheels. So, yeah, check out Twin City Skaters. It might change your life.
I love it, man. Thanks so much for coming
Yeah,
on.
this is
I love
awesome.
what you're doing, man.
Yeah.
I love it.
I can't wait to have you guys at our spot.
Yeah.
I'd love to host y'all.
Yeah, oh yeah.
That would be super fun.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching the podcast. Hit the like and follow button to stay updated on our latest episode. If you have ideas of topics or guests you'd like us to interview, drop us a comment, and we'll see you next time.